terms of his body. And I'm saying that because right now it's very popular to hear about the campaign of Me Too, who are talking about sexual harassment among adults. And nobody is really thinking where it's coming from, when it's starting. The starting point, according to my PhD, it's from age 5, that the children can understand that we're talking about how to save your body, how to guard it. And we do it by values that we give in the children to understand how each value can really also protect him from being safe. And when I'm talking about sexual harassment, I will refer it also to, first of all, sexual harassment for between children among themselves. And the second level will be sexual harassment that a child is getting from adult. Any adult that is around him, parent, uncles, family, relative, or someone that he doesn't know in the street. So we actually encouraging children to say their voice and to bring it out and say what their experience, because they have the right to be protected. And we need to give them tools to understand how, even if he's only 5 years old, he can protect himself and do things that will help him to overcome not getting the bad experience of sexual harassment.
How did you first approach this so very delicate issue? And you've been teaching that as part of your organizations, in meetings that you're having around the world, in South Africa also. What was your first encounter with that specific, very, very delicate topic?
It's a very good question. I actually started with my association at 2000. In 2000, the subject was very, very unfamiliar here in Israel, because only at 1998, Israel referred to sexual harassment among adults. And I came in 2000 and said it doesn't start with adults, it starts very early at age. And I was doing my master degree at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And because I'm a sociology, that we're looking for sexual harassment subject, someone who will specified with that, and early childhood education, there was no one that could supervise my PhD. So I had to go to London, where I did my PhD over there, and then brought the knowledge to Israel. And in South Africa, which I just came last week, I was giving a lecture at the one of the colleges, the Waldorf colleges at the Cape, and for students. There were Africans and white students, and the responses that I get was something that they really need to get the tools for themselves, and then to bring it also to the children. But the staff of schools needs to know that, and if we can talk also with parents, that will bring the whole picture together to speak the same language.
So the method that you are revealing throughout your research, throughout many meetings that you're giving and lectures, is that people from the education field in classes can really make a difference to hear the inner voice of each and every children in the classroom?
This is a wonderful question. This is exactly this. The programs that we developed in our association, who's been doing for 9 years through the government, for Ministry of Education for 9 years, and now we're doing it on our own, are really giving the tools to the teachers in class. So when we will come into the class, the children will be in the class, but the teacher must be in the class to get the tools to continue while we're not in the class. So it's a different language that we want to give the teachers, the children, and if possible for the parents as well, to know how to speak the same language. So a child, when he'll come home, his parents will understand what he's talking about, but the teacher, first of all, will know how to, if a child will come and will report of a case that happened outside school, outside in the house, or in the bus, she'll be able to hear him, to understand what he's going through, and to help him and to get some help. And this is very powerful for a child who knows that anyone from school will be able to hear him and to help him, and not just telling him this is not important, this is something that you have to get used to because this is how life is, but someone that will really get the tools. We know from our work that educators all over the world, their parents never spoke with them about private organs or private organs and places in the body. So children don't know when they're experiencing something like that if it's right or wrong, because nobody talked with them about this. And when you're starting to talk with a child at age 5, that he's able to hear what you're telling him, it's empower him, and then he will come to the teacher will say what's happening, so the teacher will know that something is going on with the child and should get some help.
Can you reflect one encounter that you had throughout so many years that you've been learning and teaching in Israel, but also around the world, and mainly now in the meetings that you're saying in South Africa? One encounter with one voice of one child or one family or one teacher that you suddenly heard throughout your method and you felt that you made a difference.
Yes, so I would like to give you 2. The first one is something that our programs are working since for several of years, about 9 or 10 years in Israel. And we've been doing the program on the 6th grade in one of the schools in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
And the guide who were coming into the class was giving the workshop
mm-hmm.
In the class. And now, 10 years after, that woman who came to and met the guide said that this program helped her, especially in the army, because in the army she got a lot of possible accident that could be sexual harassment, but she got the tools and she knew exactly what to do and how to protect herself according to the safety program that we're giving them during the programs, during the workshops. So this is one thing that says everything, that she's coming to our guide and telling her, I didn't forget what you taught me, and it was only 6th grade, so it was like 12, it was 8 years ago.
Wow.
So it's powerful. The second one is another thing that I would like to refer. I was talking only about sexual harassment, but what the prevention programs are doing, we're not touching sexual harassment only until the middle of the workshop. We give the children tools to know how to respect themselves and how to value their bodies. And only in the middle of the workshop, we will talk about sexual harassment. And when we're talking about respect, dignity, and equality, these are the values who are dolls. If we're talking about young children, the dolls will present the values. One of the in all of the programs, prevention programs, I'm referring to social and emotional development.
Uh-huh.
The tools are not only lecturing, it's also workshops with stories, experiences with dolls, and also experiences of social and emotional skills. One of the time when we were talking about crying, does men cry? Because we were talking about something that happened that made the girl cry. Then one of the boys raised his hand and said, you know, my father is only crying when he's peeling the onion. But I know that I can cry.
Wow.
And this was powerful because he was taking example of his father and how his father is supposed to behave according to the norms of gender.
Uh-huh.
But he got the message from the program saying that if you don't feel good with yourself, you can cry. You still be a man or a boy in society, but you will do it. So when you give them tools to express themselves, to say out what they feel, they're very empowered in their place, and they'll be able then to say to an attacker, listen, this is not good for me, I'm going to scream, I'm going to do something because you're harming me. So you empower the child by letting him raise his voice and express what he feels.
דוקטור איילת גלעדי, having the unique voice of a child, empowering workshops and lectures and coming book in international book. I want to thank you so much for joining us here at Contento Now TV. I want to thank you very much for these wonderful and empowering stories that can give many, many tools to families, teachers in so many countries around the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your good questions.
Thank you.